We are picking up on page 42 of the book, Copy and Paste Selected Pixels. Make sure that your file that you're working on is fit to screen so that you can see the entire image. Next, you're going to open the tornado file. And if you get a profile warning, just use the embedded profile, and that will all be explained in another chapter. With that as your active file, you're going to go into Image and open Image Size. In there you're going to see that the resolution on this is 150 pixels per inch, and the size is a lot larger than we need for that CD artwork. You can cancel out of this and then choose the rectangle marquee tool. Now notice it's a selection tool. It has dots around it. It's going to put crawling ants on the screen. This is not a drawing tool. This is simply a selection tool. And you can look at the options for this in the option bar. You can make a new selection, adding to selection, subtract from selection. You can also access these by using the Shift key for add, your Alt key to subtract, and intersect with selection. Feathering will give you a soft selection. There are style menus to choose from. You can get fixed ratio selections, fixed size selections. You have to then put in a height and width for that if that's what you're wanting. But there's a good explanation of that in your book. We're going to select a new selection. So make sure that is active and click outside the top left corner. You're going to drag down past the bottom edge and right. We want about a 20.5-inch wide selection. So we are picking up this whole area, and you can see it even though you go outside, it's going to stay within. We want to get out. You can use your rulers and you'll see the cursor moving across. So 20, a little bit more, 20.5, and that's pretty close to it. In the options bar, choose subtract from selection, and then you're going to click outside again from the top left and drag down. We want to get something that's a little bit larger and about 2 inches high. So we're going to take off the top 2 inches. And again, you can use your rulers for that. So you can see that our image selected part is a little bit smaller. You're going to copy this, so you can do Edit Copy or Control C, and then go back to your CD artwork and Edit Paste. And you can see we're a little bit smaller than what the artwork for our CD cover is. In your layer panels, you're going to notice now that you've added that as another layer. So we now have the tornado as layer 1. Now if you go up here and save, you're going to get a maximize compatibility warning about Photoshop format options. Click OK to that. It's just a warning that if you turn that off, you may have a problem putting these files into other applications. So leave that checked and say OK. Open the Lightning JPEG. And with this one, we're going to pick up the lasso tool. Again, making sure you have the new selection selected in the control panel. You're going to click at the top edge of the canvas, again to the left of the lightning bolt. This time you need to hold down, click and drag, holding down your mouse button, and drag around the general lightning shape. And avoid dragging past the bottom edge of the canvas. So you want to stay on there and drag past the right image edge and up to the top of the image. Drag around the lightning shapes, and the marquee will follow the edge of the image if you drag past the edge. So I'm just going to start up here, working around. Yes, I'll go off the edge over here. I don't want to go off the bottom. Yes, I'll go off on this side. And make sure you join it back up. Bring close to where you were and you will get an automatic selection. The software will automatically connect the first point you clicked with the last location of the mouse cursor. If you didn't get it right, go up to Select, Deselect, and try it over again. Now we've got our marching ants. We want to now go to Select, and we're going to modify and add a feather. Now right now we have a harsh edge, and we want to soften that by selecting feather, and we're going to put in a feather radius of 100. Do not check the canvas bounds thing, because otherwise we'd end up with a feather going on those harsh edges. We don't want the feather on those edges. We need that to bleed off well. So say OK to that. Now we're going to click the Edit in Quick Mask button at the bottom of the Tools panel. That's this thing. It looks like a box with a hole in the middle. I absolutely love working with the Quick Mask. The marching ants don't show your transparencies. So we're working with an alpha channel, which is our red overlay. Well, actually, I'm not showing my red overlay, so I don't have that turned on. But I can turn that on, or you can work without it. It's up to you. We can actually see how this is going to come through with our transparencies, and we can make changes to this. And I'm going to copy this and I'm going into my artwork and I'm going to edit, paste again, and you can see I still have my layer mask in here, which we'll play with a little bit more. I can go back into my lightning and I'm going to close it, and I do not want to save those changes that I made. I want it reverted back to the file that it was. Good place to save again. There's a nice section on the bottom of page 47 that talks about the lasso tool. The next part that we're going to work on is rasterize a vector file. I need to open up my logo. So I want to grab the HHT logo, which is an Illustrator file, but it's, remember, when we save the Illustrator files, we save them so that they have PDF capabilities. So we can open that, and we're going to crop it to the bounding box. Make sure that your resolution is at 300 pixels per inch, because we need to have that matching what our album cover is, and say OK to that. We're going to go into into Window and Arrange and choose 2 up vertical. So we can have those files side by side. And then grabbing your Move tool, we're going to grab our logo. Now it's on a transparency. If you look in the layer, there's only a single layer. There is a transparent background behind that, which is evident by the gray and white checkerboard that's back there. And what you can't see is that there is some really transparent images back there, but we're going to just pick this up with our move tool and drag this and place it onto the album cover. After placing that, we can go ahead and close those that document and say no to save the changes. So there's our logo. The next thing we're going to work with is to place an image, which is another Photoshop image, and we're going to place that in as an embedded file. We're going to explain a little bit more why we're doing it this way as we move through the chapter. And we're picking up title text, and we're going to place that, and it's going to be centered on the artboard, and you can click the check mark at the top or your enter key to commit to placing that object. In your layers panel, you'll see it carries the title text, and there's this little thing over here to show that it is a smart object. There's a section on page 51 that covers working with embedded and linked smart objects. If you place a smart object or put something in as a smart object, you can go into the original file, edit it, and have that change show up in wherever you have placed that file in an associated program. So if I went in and edit this separately in Photoshop, it's placed in as a smart object in this file, and those changes will be reflected within the file that you place it. Sounds crazy, but it works. In your layers panel, you're going to hold down your Alt key while you click on the eyeball for layer 1, which is going to hide everything but layer 1. Double click the words layer 1 so that you can rename this and rename that layer Tornado. Enter to accept that change. Now do the same thing for layer 2. Hold down your Alt key and click where the eyeball is supposed to be. Hold on, there it is. And double click and rename layer 2 Lightning. And rename layer 3 Logo. Then go back in and reshow all of your hidden layers. Select the title text layer and press Shift to select the logo layer, and click at the bottom of your panel to create a new group. It's that thing that looks like a folder, and rename that Logo Types. Expand that group so you can see both layers are in there. Select your title text layer, pick up the Move tool, and make sure that you turn off Auto Select so that it doesn't pick up the wrong layer. And with your Move tool, pick up that Waiting for the Storm and pop that up so that it snaps to the top left Live Area Guide. Smart guides work the same in Photoshop as they do in Illustrator, so everything should pop really well to your guides. We're going to next go to Edit and use the Free Transform tool. Just like scaling in Illustrator, we want to select the bottom right bounding box handle, drag up and left, and get this to fit on the canvas. Now it works a little different in Photoshop than we had in Illustrator. In Illustrator, to hold proportions, we had to hold down the Shift key. In Photoshop, the default is to hold the proportions, and if you hold down another key, you will make your transformation not proportionally. You can get the title within that live area, and we can adjust this because we really want the text to pop right to it.